All right, let's talk a little bit about how to use Excel. Excel is going to be a spreadsheet or a program that you're going to use that's going to be like what you used to do for Word. Most of you are great at using Word. You know how to use Word, and I'm not even sure that you realized how you got good at using it. You just kind of played with it, and you found the little shortcuts and little things that made it easier to work. You figure out how to do all that stuff. You'll figure out the same stuff doing Excel as well. Whatever you could do with like English in Word, you can do with math in Excel. So here's the analogy, like I just said. The best part, I think, is that you can save your mathematical work. And if you make a mistake or you found something you didn't do right, you can change the one little piece that you made the mistake in, and then everything else gets changed automatically. Can't do that with a calculator. Calculators, you turn them off, they're all gone there. As I said, if you make any change to an entry in the program, everywhere that use is used, you get to make the change everywhere. Excel is called a spreadsheet. It was originally used for accounting purposes because you typically add, subtract, multiply, and divide a whole bunch. All right, let's look at a typical Excel spreadsheet page. Here's a screenshot I took. It looks like a grid. You have letters running across the top, so you have columns of letters, and you have rows of numbers. It looks like a grid. Again, everything shows how they are here. Here is an example of cell B5. You do the column first and then the row. So the entry B5 would refer to whatever value you put into that particular cell. There's a menu ribbon at the top with all sorts of things Excel can do. Again, Word has a similar ribbon. You just have to understand what all the things are. You can put just about anything you want into a cell. We usually put numbers because Excel is really good at doing math, but you can put text or labels or whatever. I think it's a good idea to annotate or take good notes in your spreadsheet so you can tell what things are. Again, here's a part of a spreadsheet that I put some data in. I've labeled column B as mass A. That's kind of a bad way to do things, but I did. And underneath that, I tell you that the units are in kilograms. So this is going to tell you that any mass I put in column B is going to be the mass of whatever A happens to be in kilograms. In column D, I have mass B now, also in kilograms. Column A has the numbers 1 through 5, so maybe I have 5 different masses that I took measurements of. And then finally, what I do is I have the individual values, 18, 54, 23, 17, and 10 for the 5 values for mass A, 23.5, 12.7, 98.56, 9.76 for column D. It's just a good way to organize your data, a good way to keep things straight, so that when you have to do calculations, it's easy to do. So mass A, mass B, everything's right there. Again, a nice compact way to keep track of the data. I would suggest that if you had to take data in an experiment, this might be a place that you can record it and keep it down. I would also write it down on paper so that you have an official record of what you did, but now when you do your data analysis, you can have it all in your spreadsheet. Excel has 2 advantages over your calculator. One, it permanently keeps the data, so I'll always have a record of it. Secondly, and this is pretty important, you can do math on the individual entries, which we call cells. Let's say I need to add the masses together for each trial. You could just find another cell in the spreadsheet and again enter the numbers after you do the math sign in there, and you would get the correct answer. What you could also do is look at what I have here in this little entry here. If you put an equal sign tells you that you can enter a mathematical formula. Excel knows that you mean to enter a formula when you start with an equal sign. So in cell F6, I type in the following, equals B6 plus D6. This tells Excel to take the entry in cell B6 and add to it the entry in cell D6. So there's my arrow pointing to what I was doing there, and everything's fine. Think about how powerful this can actually be. I can let the spreadsheet program do all the math for you. If I make a mistake in either column B or column D, all I have to do is correct the mistake, and the new result automatically gets carried out. After I hit the enter sign, I would get the result there. Look what I have here. In column or in cell F6, I have 18 plus 23.5. I get 41.5. Here's the function bar. The function bar tells you how you determine the result that you find in F6. It tells you the mathematical formula that you used. Here, the calculated result is in F6. Remember, to do math, I have to start the entry with an equal sign. Equal is the way of telling Excel that you mean to do some sort of math. If you don't put the equal sign in there, it will just keep whatever you put in that particular entry. It gets even better. In our example, we added the results for trial 1 together. Let's say you have to do this for the other trials as well. You could enter the appropriate formula for each operation individually, so type equal B plus F or D or whatever it happens to be. Or I can make use of a great Excel property. Watch this. If you want to do the exact same operation again, Excel lets you do so. See how the box in our result has lines around it, and there is a tiny box in the lower right-hand corner. If you use your mouse, grab that box in the lower right-hand corner and pull it down, you can copy the formula to all the highlighted cells. This is called autofill. So here we go. See how I've grabbed it? And all the highlighted cells now have the same operation everywhere. What an amazing thing that you can do. I did 5 mathematical calculations in about 1/10 of a second. So there's the box in the lower right-hand corner. I pull it down and I copy all the values down. Excel knows that that's what you want to do. Remember, our first formula was equals B6 plus D6. If I pull the formula down, pull that little box down, Excel thinks you want to change the rows by 1. So the entry in F7 becomes B7 plus D7. If you would pull the formula to the right instead of changing rows or numbers, it would change columns. So if I pulled the formula to the right one column, the entry would read C7 plus E7. Excel thinks that you want to change things in the same direction each time you do that. Again, think of what this means. If you have lots and lots and lots of data that you need to do math on, you spend a lot of time making sure that you get the equation right once. And then you can copy it to all the other cells that you need to do it there rapidly and quickly. If you make a mistake in the entry, I fix the mistake, I fix the one number that was wrong, and then the corrected results automatically appear. All right, continuing. As the first introduction to Excel, I want you to practice finding averages and then something else called a standard deviation. You probably already have an idea of what averages are. Averages can apply to the accuracy of a series of measurements. Remember what accuracy is. Accuracy is how close a single measurement or the average of a series of measurements are to some true or accepted value. So the first thing you obviously have to do is find the average of a particular series of measurements. In my example, I wanted to find the average of mass A. I'll put this entry in cell B13. Sorry. I start by using the equal sign, then I type the word average. Then I use a left parentheses. Excel recognizes this as one of the built-in functions it has. There's hundreds of built-in functions that you can do. I highlight the cells that I want to find the average of. In this case, B6 through B10. I end with a right parentheses, and then I hit return. This will automatically give me the average of mass A. That will be located in cell B13. So, finding the average of mass A, B13 now has the computed averages or average of cell B6 through B10. If I copy the contents of cell B13 to cell D13, Excel knows that I want to find the average of the cells in column D. I moved over 2 columns, so instead of finding the average in B, 2 columns from B is D, I get that. WOW. Wow. What an amazing ability to copy formulas, and having Excel know and keep track of where you are is an amazingly great feature. There's so much you can do with this. Now, let me introduce a new statistical function. This new statistical function is called the standard deviation. A standard deviation tells you something about the spread of the data from the average. In other words, how close the various values are grouped to each other, which is what we've learned before is a measure of precision. To find the standard deviation of a set of data, it's very similar to finding the average of a set of data. You type equals STDEV left parentheses, then I highlight the data I wish to find the standard deviation of, then I hit the right parentheses and return. So, in cell B14, I'm going to find the standard deviation of my 5 measurements of mass A. I type in the formula as I showed you, I hit return, I get 17.1843. Just a note to let you realize that your data does not have to be in columns to find averages or standard deviations. It could be in rows if that's what you wanted it to be. I really don't care how you organize your data. I just would like you to organize it in such a way that it makes sense, and perhaps more importantly, that if someone else would look at your spreadsheet, they could determine what and how you did things. Science is all about repeatability. Remember the Bill Nye video we saw? Data and science have to be repeated. You have to get the same results. So if someone else can duplicate your spreadsheet by seeing what you did, they should be able to get the same answers. I would also suggest that the more you annotate or put notes in your spreadsheet, the easier it will be for others to read. Finally, most of you know how to use the help functions in Word or other such computer programs. If in doubt about something in Excel, there is a question mark located in the top menu bar, or oftentimes if you right-click on a cell or a menu button, it will bring up a help menu. The best thing you can do with this is to practice and play.